Okay. Okay, welcome everybody to the September 5th, 2023 Finance Committee meeting. Hope everybody had a nice long weekend. Some housekeeping items. If you are here for a public comment, please approach the podium and turn on the light and introduce yourself for the record when the agenda item is scheduled for you. And then also, if you could please make sure your cell phones are either on vibrate or mute. And with that, we'll have the clerk read the first item on our agenda.
Number 10, ordinance third reading, submitting to the qualified property owners of real property within the boundaries of the Cheyenne Downtown Development Authority District of Cheyenne, Wyoming, excluding real property used exclusively for residential purposes. At a special election on Wednesday, October 18, 2023, the following question: shall a special assessment of 20 mills be levied upon the assessed value of real property within the boundaries of the Cheyenne Downtown Development Authority District, excluding real property used exclusively for residential purposes for a period of 4 years pursuant to the provisions of Wyoming State Statute 15-9-217B for the purposes of landscaping or maintenance of public areas, 2, planning or management of development or improvement activities, or 3, promotion of public events, and 4, activities in support of business recruitment and development.
Staff report.
Hello, Mr. Chair. Can you hear me?
Sorry, we can, Chris, go ahead.
Okay, Chris Jones, City Clerk. This is ordinance on third reading, and we've had no additional changes. If anybody had any further questions, I'd be happy to try to address them.
Thanks, Chris. Stand by. Questions for Chris on this item? Hearing none. Any comments from the public? Hearing none, do I have a motion from the committee?
I would move to approve on third and final reading.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Comments from the committee? Hearing none, all those in favor of this item, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That item moves forward. Next item, please.
Number 18, resolution authorizing the acceptance of a federal emergency management agency fiscal year 2022 assistance of firefighters grant in the amount of $387,043.63 and authorizing the contribution of $38,704.37 from the 5th and 6th penny funds in support of this program for the purpose of purchasing breathable air fill stations.
Staff report.
Good afternoon, Chair and Committee. John Copper, Fire Chief, Cheyenne Fire Rescue. The item you have before you today is the award notification for the 2022 Assistance of Firefighters Grant through the Department of Homeland Security and the Federal Emergency Management Agency. The grant is for self-contained breathing apparatus fill stations. The grant replaces 2 current units at the end of their life and then adds 3 more in the new fire stations that we're currently building. FEMA awarded us $387,043.63, and it requires a 10% match for $38,704.37. The matching requirement will be used 2021 6 penny grant matching funds. Respectfully request approval, and I'll stand for any questions.
Thanks, Chief. Any questions for the chief? Mr. Roybal.
Are these stations portable? They are not, sir. So they're fixed in each? They're fixed in each station. Okay, thank you.
Other questions for the chief? Hearing none. Comments from the public? Hearing none, do I have a motion from the committee?
I would move to adopt.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Comments from the committee? Hearing none, all those in favor of this resolution, please signify by saying aye.
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 No one's opposed. That item moves forward. Next item, please.
Number 22F, real estate purchase agreement between the city of Cheyenne and Trace G. Leework and Mary G. Leework for the purchase of real property located at 700 Gettysburg Drive, City of Cheyenne, consisting of approximately 189,921.6 square feet, more or less, and associated easement documents.
Staff report.
Chair, members of the Finance Committee, Jean Vetter, Parks and Greenway Planner. The purpose of this real estate purchase agreement is to purchase property for the Sun Valley to Kiwanis Park Greenway connection. The land will also be used as Land and Water Conservation Fund conversion property for the 2.5 acre site of the new fire station being constructed on Converse Avenue. The appraised value of the property is $245,000, and funding will come from the 2021 6-penny for Greenway expansion. For the remaining Lewick property, a 40-foot width shared access easement will be granted to the city. And for the city-owned property, a 10-foot width utility easement will be granted to the Lewicks. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Jeannie?
Chairman
Go
White,
ahead.
through you. I just wanted to make sure that this was appraised, and do you know when it was appraised?
It was appraised in September of last year.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
There are no other questions, comments from the public? Hearing none, do I have a motion from the committee?
I would move to approve an amount not to exceed $245,000.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Comments from the committee? Hearing none, all those in favor of this real estate purchase agreement, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No one's opposed. That item moves forward. Thanks, Jeannie. Next item, please.
Number 22G, contract between the City of Cheyenne, Office of Youth Alternatives, and Laramie County to provide services for juveniles appearing in the Laramie County Circuit Court and the Municipal Court of the City of Cheyenne for supervised probation, diversion, and the coordination of drug and alcohol services.
Staff report.
Good afternoon, Chairman White and committee members. Jay Sullivan, the Director of Youth Alternatives. As was previously stated, this is the contract between Laramie County and Youth Alternatives to provide the probation services and diversion services for the youth appearing in those courts. This is basically a continuation of that contract that we've had in previous years. The amount of this contract is $76,000. I will stand by for questions.
Questions for Mr. Sullivan?
Yes, sir, Chairman White.
Dr. Aldrich.
Through you. Do we know the number of youth that were monitored and tracked through this program in 2022?
Chairman White, through you.
ahead.
Yes, we do. We can provide a report to you after the completion of this meeting.
Thank you.
Other questions for Jay? Hearing none. Comments from the public? Hearing none, do I have a motion from the committee?
And move to approve an amount not to exceed $76,000.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Comments from the committee? Hearing none, I would just say, Jay, yes, that information would be very helpful before the meeting of the full meeting of the governing body takes place next week. We'd appreciate it. And we certainly continue to recognize the important work that Youth Alternatives does in our community. There are no other go ahead, sir.
Thank you for that.
Sure thing. All right. All those in favor of the professional services agreement between City of Cheyenne and Office of Youth Alternatives and Laramie County, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No one's opposed. That item moves forward. Next item, please.
Number 22H, professional services agreement between the City of Cheyenne and Volunteers of American Northern Rockies Alcohol Receiving Center to provide alcohol and drug detoxification services.
Vicki Nemechek, Public Works. This is our annual contract with the Alcohol Receiving Center. They are to perform the obligations set forth in Appendix A of the contract. The amount is not to exceed $136,875. We do have representatives here from the Alcohol Receiving Center to respond to questions.
Questions for Vicki or
Yes, sir.
go ahead, Dr. Aldridge.
Chairman White, through you. Vicki, can you tell us, is this a similar amount to what we paid last year?
Good question. And it is similar, but I don't believe it's exact. Well, we'll let the Alcohol Receiving Center answer.
It is the same amount as we've been awarded previously.
And Chairman White, a follow-up question.
Go ahead.
This is much like the question that we asked last year at this time. My question is, if you can tell us how many were referred from Laramie County. I know that an appendix or attachment, Appendix A, it also says that you're providing services to Albany County, Goshen County, and Platte County. And last year when we asked about that, they were not, if I remember correctly, they were not helping to fund this.
That's correct. We did pull some data for this year, however, and we only had 6 referrals from outside of Laramie County. So the vast majority of the patients we're serving are coming from this community.
A follow-up question, Chairman White, and how many of that what was the total?
We served 149 unique patients this year.
Thank you.
Oh, could you identify yourself? for the
I'm sorry,
record,
yes.
please?
My name is Dr. Amy Foster. I am the Chief Program Officer for Volunteers of America.
Thank you, Dr. Foster. Any other questions for Dr. Foster or Vicky? Okay, hearing none. Comments from the public? Hearing none, do I have a motion from the committee?
I would move to approve an amount not to exceed $136,875.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Comments from the committee? Hearing none. All those in favor of this professional services agreement, please signify by saying aye.
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 No one's opposed. That item moves forward. Next item, please.
Human Services Agreement between the City of Cheyenne and United Way of Laramie County to provide services to various community programs.
Staff report.
Vicky Nemechek, Public Works. This is our, well, it's not annual. Let's say this is a 3-year contract for fiscal years 24, 25, and 26. Each year is $250,000. The funds come from the 1% sales tax, so have been voted on by the voters and approved by the voters. The scope of work is attached as Exhibit A, and we do have representatives from United Way here to answer questions.
Thank you. Stand by. Questions for Vicky or folks from the United Way? Dr. Aldridge.
Sure, right through you. I was just curious as to why Needs Incorporated is listed under education and what type of education they're providing.
Hello, my name is Chris Whitfield. I'm the Executive Director for United Way. Needs is part of the coalition. We put together collaborations this year, and they are educating families on what they may need for resources. So because they're all working together, Needs is providing referrals to the other agencies, and they're providing referrals to Needs.
Thank you.
Other questions? Okay, hearing none. Comments from the public? Hearing none, do I have a motion from the committee?
I'd move to approve an amount not to exceed $750,000.
It's been moved and seconded. Comments from the committee?
Yes, sir.
Dr. Aldridge.
I just wanted to note that when you look at this list of community partners, each one of these fills a unique niche in our community and service that they provide. And when you look at the amount that we're contributing, which is adds up to be a substantial amount, but is quite limited in amount to each entity, that we are getting a lot of bang for our buck per se. So I appreciate the work that they do in our community.
Couldn't agree more. Thank you for that. If there are no other comments from the committee, all those in favor of this human services agreement between the city and United Way of Laramie County, please signify by saying aye.
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 No one's opposed. That item moves forward. Next item, please.
Number 22J, Professional Services Agreement between the City of Cheyenne and Safe Harbor to provide a safe and secure environment to families who have been affected by abuse.
Welcome back.
Vicky Nemechek, Public Works. This is our annual contract with Safe Harbor. It is to perform the obligations set forth in Appendix A of the contract. It is for 1 year, fiscal year 2024. The amount is $20,000, and we do have a representative from Safe Harbor here to answer questions if you have any.
Thank you, Vicky. Questions? Dr. Aldridge.
Chairman White, through you. I was just curious as to the number of families that we've served last year through this service.
Lynn Story Heiler from Safe Harbor. So the $20,000 that we get or we're asking for this year under this contract pays for the forensic interviews that we conduct on children who have been abused and neglected for law enforcement and social services. But it also pays for a few other things. So last year, the dollars paid for 47 interviews. Nationally, interviews are billed out about $350 per interview, and that's for the life of that case. So a case can be really long. I can do an interview on a child when they're 5, and then it may not even go to court until they're 8 or 9. So it pays for the life of that case. And if there's, anything that's related to that. So also under that contract, I do supervision. There's a couple of detectives who have been trained in forensic interviewing, and I do peer review with them and supervision of them. So that pays for that as well. I also I give back my dollars. So you give me dollars and I give back those dollars. So I take those detectives to training. And last year I took one detective to the Dallas Crimes Against Children Conference and paid for their hotel. So the money that you give me not only goes to the forensic interviews, but it goes to a few other things. And last year, I in fact spent all the money you gave me. And in fact, I exceeded my expenses by about $116. So this year we asked for a little bit more as kind of COVID kind of lessened our numbers, but I think we're kind of coming out of that again. And I think we're seeing a few more upticks in numbers.
Any other questions for Ms. Heiler?
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Escabel?
Thank you. Through you, Ms. Heiler. So I noticed DFS is in there for 28. What kind of state funds do you get?
So we have what we call braided funding. So I have lots of different pots of money that help support that. So any outside work that we do outside of Laramie County is covered by VOCA dollars, and DFS is in those dollars. They're Victims of Crime Act dollars, they're federal dollars. So those fall under those. The Laramie County Sheriff's Office pays for their own interviews as well. Your dollars only go to support the interviews that I do for the Cheyenne Police Department. Everybody else is covered under other sources, and I do have money that supports their interviews.
Just to follow up, so that would be the same for out of county?
Yeah, out of county and DFS are under VOCA dollars,
Okay.
Victim of Crime Act dollars.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions for Ms. Heiler? Hearing none, comments from the public? Hearing none, do I have a motion from the committee?
I would move to approve an amount not to exceed $20,000.
Second.
Any comments from the committee?
Yes, sir.
Dr. Aldrich?
Chairman White, through you, I just wanted to say, once again, I think this is one of those services that quite honestly, I wish that Lynn didn't have to even do this job, because it's one of those things that's not pleasant to have to fund, nor I'm sure to work in that area. But I have had the opportunity to tour her facility and know the scope of what she does, and $20,000 is a heck of a deal for the services that she provides to our community.
Any other comments? I would just ask Jen if you could perhaps email this out to the rest of our colleagues. Yes. There for you, because that is really good data. And I noticed in that you're also utilized the CPT team for education on fentanyl, which is unfortunately becoming more and more necessary. We thank you for all the services you provide us. Thank you. There are no other comments. All those in favor of this professional services agreement, please signify by saying aye.
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 No one's opposed. That item moves forward.
Number 22K, professional services agreement between the City of Cheyenne and Ayers Associates Incorporated for the West Crow Creek Greenway Plan.
Staff report.
This is Jeff Nausinger, MPO Director. Staff report, West Crow Creek Greenway, it's the last remaining section from the original Greenway plan. This would be 35% design plans. And 2 proposals were received. Ayers Associates was selected as the best qualified with a not to exceed amount of $134,997.54. 90.5% 90.49% would be coming from FHWA. The remaining 9.51%, which is just less than 13,000, would be a local match.
Thank you, sir. Stand by. Questions, Dr. Aldrich?
Chairman White, through you. I just, had a question. Mr. Knopfinger, I'm wondering if we might be able to get a map prior to next Monday's meeting to show the work that's been done and then the work that's this contract is covering on along the Crow Creek. I looked through all of the documents and I don't see anywhere where it shows where our last initiative left off and where this one picks up as far as a map goes. So I was curious about that. I was also, I just wanted to make sure, you said that the local match was $13,000. But we're showing it this contract, 134,997.54. Is that's in addition to the match, or did you misstate the match?
No, 9.51% would be of that total. Of that, our match would be just under $13,000.
Still not understanding that.
So let me see if I can clarify, sir, and maybe Stephanie can provide clarification if needed. So of the $134,997.54, how much is the city's share of that? Is that the match?
The match would be just under 13,000 and it's split between the city and the county.
Okay, so we're not paying the full 134K. That's coming from MPO funds. Is that correct?
Correct.
Charles Burns here. Go ahead, Charles.
Chair, members of the committee, I'll elaborate real quick. So the total contract amount is 134,000, which comes out of a transportation planning fund. It's a dedicated fund of the city. That funding is comprised of money from the feds and also the city and county's match. Our match is the 9.5%. That is what will come out of that account. So the not to exceed amount is that 134,000 and change, of which that 13,000 that Jeff Knopfinger has mentioned, that is already in the account. So as with anything through the MPO, any expense that comes out, whether it be salary, any project, any study, any dollar amount, the 9.5% comes from the city's contribution. I hope that provides clarification.
Any further questions?
Chairman White, through you.
Go ahead.
So the 10% or the 9% match, whatever it is part of this 134,997.54, or is that in addition?
And Chair, through you to Councilmember Aldrich, it is within, it is not an addition.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, are there comments from the public? Do I have a motion from the committee?
I move to approve an amount not to exceed $134,997.54.
It's been moved and seconded. Comments from the committee? Hearing none, all those in favor of this professional services agreement, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No one's opposed. That item moves forward. Next item, please.
Memorandum of Understanding between the City of Cheyenne and Wyoming Housing Network Incorporated to provide financial assistance relating to the construction of affordable housing for the Robbins Point Apartments Housing Project.
Welcome, Renee. Staff report, please.
Good afternoon, Chair, members of the committee, Renee Smith, Grants Manager. Before you is a memorandum of understanding between the City of Cheyenne and Wyoming Housing Network to provide $150,000 in gap funding for the Robbins Point Apartments due to a significant increase in construction costs. These housing loans fund dollars are program income from housing and urban development programs that were managed by the city in the last few decades but haven't been spent. Robbins Point will provide 45 new multi-income units to the housing inventory in Cheyenne, which is an eligible use of these funds. So I'm here to answer any questions. And also Melissa Noah, the Executive Director for Wyoming Housing Network, should be available to answer questions about Robbins Point.
Thanks, Renee. Stand by. Questions for Renee? Mr. Roybal.
You said this is from coming from funds that we've had managed for decades. What's the balance in that account?
The current balance in the account before this expense was roughly, I think like 250,000.
Okay.
Three. Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's like three. Sorry, doing the math. 349. It's earning interest, so every month it goes up a little bit more. So we're trying to proactively start spending this down.
Okay, and then where is Robbins Point?
That's what I looked it up online. I did a Dr. Google search and it was like, I don't know. I think it's on Dell Range or not Dell Range. It's by a little, yes, Nationway, but by just past Menards and stuff, or Murdoch's.
Chair,
See, pushes her on.
Chair, members of the committee.
feel like-
Charles Bloom. Planning and
Go ahead,
development, I'm going to
Charles.
stop the bleeding. Robbins Point is actually located off of Nation Way, near AmVets. You know where the old AmVets facility is, where Thankful Thursdays are. Immediately to the west of the old AmVets is Hawks Point, and to the south is Robin Point. It's all owned by the same developer. So it's in that little triangle of land formerly owned by Frank Cole. It's adjacent to Henderson Ditch.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for that clarification. We'll look forward to Renee getting revenge on you later. But if there are there other questions from, if you can't have fun, comments from the public?
Mr. Helflin, did you want to speak on this item?
Apparently. Okay. There are no comments from the public. Is there a motion from the committee?
I would move to approve an amount not to exceed $150,000.
It's been moved and seconded. Comments from the committee?
Yes, sir.
Dr. Aldrich.
I just wanted to say, I appreciate us being proactive and trying to utilize this money to help with attainable and affordable housing. If anybody's been past the Hawk Point apartments, they are extremely nice. And had the opportunity to tour those when they had their open house. And I think this will be a great use of that land that's been sitting vacant for so many years.
Agreed.
Mr. Chair, just a
Mr. Roybal.
quick question. Ruggle?
Huh?
Did you say Mr. Ruggle?
No, I said Mr. Roybal.
Mr. Rubble is your science teacher in high school.
Yeah, okay. Starting to look like him too. That money that we have in that account, is that something that could be utilized for like Habitat for Humanity? Or is there parameters on that?
So, Mr. Chair, through you, we've met with Stephanie a little bit to look at what the rules were back in the 90s, early 2000s. Yes, however, we have to be careful about when and how we spend it. So this is like that in year one of being able to spend, we'll have to wait a year to continue to spend. But yes, as long as it's within the HUD parameters, we can. That's what this is for affordable housing specifically.
Follow up. Are
Go
we
ahead.
receiving any more funds from that, or is this just a dormant account basically?
It's dormant. It's been dormant. So it's just receiving interest earned at this point. We were, that mortgage income that we were getting was rolling into this, but since we canceled all of those within the last year, there's no more actual income coming into this.
And do we have any more coffee cans like that buried in the backyard?
We're looking.
Okay, okay.
I had a question.
Robin's answer was pretty emphatic. Go ahead, Dr. Aldrich.
Chairman White, through you, my only question, Renee, was if this is money that is just being given, it's not, there's no anticipation or expectation for it to be repaid.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of this MOU between the city and Wyoming Housing Network, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No one's opposed. That item moves forward. There are no other items on our agenda today. This meeting is adjourned. Have a great day.